Hey guys! This week's video, I was going to talk about documentaries. So I made this book for my mom last Christmas because she loves documentaries and that's just something we've always bonded over. I'm home right now this weekend and I thought I could talk about some of the documentaries I recommended my mom and some I recommend for you guys to watch. The first documentary I recommend to someone if they've not really watched a lot of documentaries before or they want to get more into documentaries, I suggest starting with Three Identical Strangers. This documentary is about three brothers who got separated at birth and then they eventually find each other in the end. It's just an incredible story too about how people are different by the way they were raised. Since they were all separated at birth, the brothers ended up being completely different people, and it's just a really fascinating documentary and it's one of the more famous documentaries, I would say. So I definitely recommend watching Three Identical Strangers, and I'm pretty sure you can watch it on Hulu for free. Next documentary I recommend is Amy, about Amy Winehouse. This documentary only uses like found footage, so there's no really sit-down interviews or anything like that. It's all footage that had been taken of her and her friends over the years, and then it's just kind of voiceover interviews going through the footage, which I really enjoy because I feel like you get to see the real Amy in that light. I feel like sometimes documentaries, when they're made about people who aren't alive anymore, sometimes they can seem kind of insensitive because you don't really know what people are saying about them is true. And I feel like this documentary does a good job of showing the whole time just real footage. So I really enjoy this documentary for that reason. And you can watch it on Amazon Prime for $2.79. The next documentary I recommend is called Shrinkers, and it is on Netflix. Shrinkers is about a filmmaker who gets her footage stolen, and then eventually it tells the journey about how she found her stolen footage again. I just think it's a really interesting documentary and one I've never watched before, so I just thought it was really fascinating, and it won an award at Sundance when it came out. I don't know the year it came out, but all the footage is from 1999. So it's a really cool documentary. Definitely recommend watching it, and it is on Netflix. So yeah. Now, another one of my favorite documentaries is Exit Through the Gift Shop, a Banksy film. So if you don't know who Banksy is, he is an artist who does all kinds of artwork. Here's some that is a more famous pieces of his artwork, and he does graffiti and has always been very mysterious. Nobody knows his face, his voice, or anything like that. And so then he made this documentary about him, but you can't see his face or his voice because he uses like a voice changing device. But I just think this is super interesting, and he dives into the art of street art and how it came and the history of that, and I find it super interesting. So if you like Banksy or just art in general, you can watch the Exit Through the Gift Shop free on YouTube. The next documentary I recommend is called The Salesman. Now, this is an older documentary. It follows four door-to-door Bible salesmen in the 1960s, and it explores the ethical dilemmas that the men deal with and the people that they would meet. I just think it's really interesting, and I think I had to watch this for class one year, and it's something I would have never picked to watch, but I found it extremely fascinating. So if you want to watch this film, it is free on Max. Now, this next documentary is probably my favorite documentary I've ever watched, and it's called Grizzly Man. Grizzly Man is about a man named Timothy Treadwell who went and documented his experience of living with grizzly bears. He spent 13 summers living in Alaska with grizzly bears. It's a lot of found footage of him documenting his experience. Hence the name Grizzly Man. He befriended the grizzly bears, really learned how to live with them, and learned a lot about them. He did this as an attempt to protect them from poachers and anyone who wanted to kill grizzly bears. And if you're interested in watching this one, I definitely recommend it. It's a bit of a sad watch, but a very fascinating documentary. You can watch it on Amazon Prime for free. This documentary is especially perfect right now. It is Superman, the Christopher Reeves story. Now, I've already talked before about how much I loved the Superman movie. I had never watched any Superman thing before that. The Superman movie that just came out was so amazing. I could do a whole video on it. But the most famous Superman was Christopher Reeves, and he has a very sad and interesting story. So if you're interested in learning more about the original Superman, definitely watch this, and you can watch it on Amazon Prime for $5.99. Our next documentary is called Stories We Tell from Sarah Pulley. This documentary is about a filmmaker named Sarah, and she dives into the secrets of her own family. You kind of feel like you're invading Sarah's life, but she tells it in such a beautiful way, and I just think it's really interesting and really admirable for her to be so vulnerable while making a documentary. So if you want to watch this, you can watch it free on Amazon Prime. Okay, I have 2 more documentaries. This next one, if you love baseball or kind of a mystery, we have Long Shot. Long Shot was about a man accused of murder, and his alibi was that he was at a baseball game. But they could not prove that he was at the baseball game. He did not have his ticket, his receipt, anything like that. No one saw him at the game. So the whole story is about him proving his innocence, and it's a very fascinating story. I'm not gonna spoil it, so you have to watch to know what happens, but you can watch this on Netflix for free. Okay, our last documentary, and another amazing one, but also kind of controversial, we have Roadrunner, a film by Anthony Bourdain. Now, the reason I say this is kind of controversial is because in the documentary, the director uses AI to voice over quotes from Anthony Bourdain, but used an AI voice that sounds like Anthony Bourdain from quotes he has said. This film came out a couple years ago, so before AI was really a thing and all the AI, you know, ChatGPT, everything like that had come out. A lot of people don't love that they use Anthony Bourdain's voice, but I'll let you guys make your decision on how you feel about it. It was quotes he said, but still, he never actually said them, so, in the recording, but you know. It's a great documentary about Anthony Bourdain's life, how he traveled, the people he met, everything like that. So if you want to watch that, you can watch it for free on Max. Thank you so much for watching. I know this is kind of a shorter video, but I'm at home working on stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you watch any of the documentaries. Bye!